Hey everyone, great to see everybody. It is September 7th and this is Meta Market Weekly. Yes, we've changed the name. We are going to be doing this later in the week for a couple of different reasons. First and foremost, just schedules, and also because there's some cool stuff that ends up happening at the beginning of the week, and it's cool to be able to see how the market opens after the weekend, like this weekend, and be able to just talk about a little bit about what's happening during the week. So that's what we're going to be able to do. And Fernando, who seems to be the prediction king lately, 3 weeks in a row, he's been right about the market, is here with me. What's up, Fernando?
Hey, Justin, thank you for the introduction. Everything's perfect. Yeah, let's start today by talking a little bit of the price movement of the market. And thank you for acknowledging that I've been right for a while now.
3 weeks in a row, man, you called it.
Yeah, to be honest, right now it's not that hard to be right about the direction of the market, because it's been constantly months, weeks, months, days of the market going down. But before I start, I want to show you guys something very, very interesting. So check this out. This is, give it a moment. This is a chart of the Amazon stock on 1995 on the .com bubble. So if you look at this chart, it is almost exactly the same as Bitcoin. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Do you see the graph? If we
Yep.
this is from Amazon. So we have a double peak here, and then if we go back to Bitcoin, I mean, do you see the similarity?
I see a big similarity. It looks almost identical.
Yeah, it looks almost identical. The only difference, that with the stock market, it is slower for the chart to form, because with the stock market, it only opens from, I think, 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock, and only operates from Monday to Friday. So the time frame, it's longer. This is like from 98 to 2002. And this one from Bitcoin is only like 2 years. So the resemblance is almost identical. And I'm gonna show you something something spookier. So I'm gonna add the moving average for Bitcoin. Let's give it a moment. Okay, here we go. Let me do it on a weekly. Just a second. Okay, it is better looking as a weekly. Okay, so yeah, if we go back here, this is called the dead cross, when the 7-day moving average and the 25-day moving average crosses on its way down, and this happens here. And if we look at the dead cross here on Bitcoin, it's almost identical. We have here, let me see if I can circle the dead cross. Just a second. Patterns, brush, circle. Okay, here is the dead cross. So it is almost identical. So this chart, it's a little more confusing because it is in black and in white. So I'm gonna use this one instead. Hold on. Okay, so this is the graph from Amazon from 1998, and it looks almost identical to the one that we're having right now with Bitcoin. So we can see that the bottom is here, and then it slowly starts going up. So I expect something like that to happen to Bitcoin within the next 1 to 3 months. If my calculations are right, like I was expecting, maybe we have a tiny movement upwards here and then go down. We have a support here, and then we go all the way down here, let me actually pull out my resistance channels. Hold on, price range channels. I'm sorry. So we have one resistance here. And then we have another resistance here. So this is what I'm expecting from the market right now. We're gonna maybe, like I said, go up to 21K, max 23K. Maybe this is not a sure thing. The reason why I say this is because the market loves to do the opposite of what we're expecting. Why? Because like we were saying on last podcast, there is one way of trading called futures, which is pretty much like going to a casino. You say that you're betting that the price is going up or the price is going down. And if you're right, you're given money. And if you're wrong, they take money away from you. So we have billions of dollars daily of people betting on the movement of the market. And guess what? The house can see where the bets are, how many bets they're in, and all that good stuff. So they can use that against you. So if they see that everyone is shorting the market, they can say like, oh, everyone thinks that the market is going down. Let's buy $10 million worth of Bitcoin to liquidate them. And then once it goes up, we bring it down. So you gotta be so you gotta be very careful. I mean, if you're a future trader, you gotta be very careful. And this is exactly what I expect is gonna happen. Maybe a little bit up, then we go down to the support level. This level has very little support. So once we touch here, it is very likely that very quick, we're gonna drop all the way down here. And I am expecting, for me, this is the perfect buy zone between 12K and 9K. As I've always said, this is one of my mantras in life when trading. You're never gonna sell the highest point. You're never gonna buy the lowest point. Yeah. So I wouldn't recommend you to wait till 9K. My personal strategy is I'm gonna start buying other cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, and all that stuff once we reach 12K. And I'm expecting that to happen, within 1 month to 3 months. And after that, we can expect something like we see here on the Amazon chart, that once we hit the bottom, we're gonna gradually start going up, but it's most likely going to take 6 months or maybe a year to start thinking about big profits like back in the days. I want to show you a real example of what happened on the previous bull market. So here, when we had the bull market of 2017, we reached the top on December 18. And then when did we reach the bottom? It was on December 17. So almost exactly 1 year from the top to the bottom. And I'm expecting the same behavior right now. The top was on November 8th. So we could be expecting the bottom to be around, November the 1st, maybe a little bit sooner, because I believe that the market cycles every time they're becoming quicker because there's more adoption and more utility. And then from the bottom to, a decent movement upwards for the price of Bitcoin was almost a year later. So, I mean, if you're expecting to make money out of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies that are not Meta One, that's more or less your time frame, what to expect. On the subject of the Meta One coin, we're still doing awesome as always, super stable. We reached a new all-time high on, I think it was last week. We touched $380. And yeah, I mean, we're stable as ever. Meta One is always climbing and super stable. And if we compare the risk from buying Meta One to other cryptocurrency assets, I mean, I believe it's a no-brainer to see how there's a lot of risk here. And with Meta One, there's almost no risk because we're backed by gold.
Yeah, exactly. And the charts are so different from, especially in in a market like this, I mean, gosh, it's a wild ride out there in most of the rest of the market. So it's refreshing to at least we have some place to park money, right? When we have this
Yeah.
craziness going on. So yeah, that's fascinating. And I agree with you. I think that we are not even close to the bottom. And I think that it's going to be a very, very interesting fall. And yeah, I just am really curious on how long it's going to take for the bull market to come back and how long the next bull market is going to be. Because, yeah, last bull market, we were, whatever, 8 to 12 months it was about. But, there's with so many unique and unprecedented eco-political, political, geopolitical things going on in the world. I wonder if it's going to be longer than that. I wonder if it's going to take longer for Bitcoin to recover. What do you think?
I don't think so. If
Okay.
something, I think that it might be quicker. Yes, we're in a intense situation in the world, the whole world right now.
Yeah.
But I think that right now is the time for Bitcoin to shine,
Yeah.
because crypto and Bitcoin were created to solve this problem. And
True.
I think that I'm pretty sure and pretty confident that it is going to fix this issue, or if not fix the issue, maybe serve as a store of value and fix the issue 50%. And yeah, I mean, I definitely feel that the cycle of the markets is going to be shorter. Why? Because there's utility now, there's adoption, a lot of people are starting to use Bitcoin.
True.
And yeah, so I definitely think that it's not going to take a lot of time in order for us to be back on the bull market. I actually think that in 3 months from today, we're gonna see the bottom, and it's going to start feeling bullish again. And the reason why is because I know for sure that from here to all the
Mm-hmm.
way down here, this is market manipulation. So all the people that were saying that Bitcoin was trash, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, all those banking industries that were saying that Bitcoin was garbage, they're all a part of us now. BlackRock, the biggest money manager in the planet, was saying that Bitcoin was garbage. They just did a partnership with Coinbase. So all these people that know now finally understand the technology, they didn't have a chance to buy Bitcoin at a good price. So what happened? They orchestrated this bear market. They made a partnership with Sam Bankman-Fried, who is owner of FTX. They reach out the people from Bitfinex. They orchestrated a bear market, and once we hit the bottom, these same people are gonna be the ones buying the most Bitcoin in the whole planet. So I always say, watch what they do, not what they're saying. And we're gonna see, BlackRock, we're gonna see JP Morgan, we're gonna see Goldman Sachs, we're gonna see all these institutions that were bashing Bitcoin. They're gonna be the largest Bitcoin holders in the world in about 3 months, once we hit the bottom. That is why I really think that this market cycle, which is usually let me show you, it is usually 4 years. If we go all the way back to the second cycle, which was here from 2013. So the highest point was in December 5 of 2013, and the lowest point was on January 2015. So it was about a year and 1 month from top to bottom. And then once we hit the bottom, we slowly start recovering the bullish movement. Slowly, like I said, it's not super quick, might take like a year. And then we can see the same thing over and over. We can see now that from the cycle from 2017 to 2022, the top was from December 2017, and the bottom was December 2018, and now it was a little less than a year. So market cycles are getting shorter by months, and maybe this time is going to be shorter even by a year. This coming market cycle might be 3 years long, and the reason why I feel this way is because of adoption. There's already I think there's 2 countries now accepting Bitcoin. One is El Salvador, the other one was one in Africa. I don't remember which one was it. Do you know?
I don't know about the one in Africa, but I do know that Iran just started accepting Bitcoin for international trade. So that's a pretty big deal.
So we have that. We have adoption, and once there's adoption, once there's utility, the asset becomes less volatile, and the market gradually starts going up because people are now accepting the asset. And that's what's happened back in the days with the dot-com bubble and the 2008 crash, that since at the beginning there was no value behind the assets because it was 100% speculation. It was very volatile, and so just up and down. But once these companies started developing into what there are now, Amazon, eBay, and all that, we had a multi-decade bull run. You can see here back in the days when Amazon and eBay and all that were just speculation. It went up and it went down. It went up and it went down. Why? Because there was no product. You were just gambling that, believing that the asset was going to go up eventually. But once the companies were built and there was something behind it, there was utility, there were dividends, there were actually companies worth billions of dollars under management, this happened. And it never went down. Well, I mean, it eventually goes down, but not like this, like here we're watching volatility of over 50%. And here, yes, we do have volatile movements, but it's like maybe 20%, 15%. And that's what we're seeing right now on the S&P 500. I believe that we're going to go down maybe all the way here to 3,000 points. And then we're going to continue going up.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's also so much market manipulation that's going on too. And that, that equates to a lot. We have this crazy psycho thing that, the Federal Reserve has been doing for quite a long time, with their quantitative easing that they did from basically 2008 all the way until just recently. And it got even more ridiculous during COVID. And now they're tightening, and it's I don't know. I was reading an article from Ron Paul, and he was talking about how this is not a normal. It's crazy that people think that economic cycles have to rely on booms and busts, et cetera, and that's a normal thing. And it's not a normal thing. It's a thing that is created, and it's created by these massive institutions who manipulate the markets. I really think that we're seeing such high, especially traditional markets, simply because it's all propped up on fake money that was pumped into the system during the COVID years. And now we're seeing the repercussions of that. It's the same thing in the housing market. The housing market is starting to fall apart in the United States and in other countries as well. And it's a result of this major central bank, just pumping all of this fake money into the economy. Because, it's just interesting. It's like looking at the traditional markets lately. It's like what happened over the weekend with the energy crisis in Europe. You would think that the stock markets would be tanking a lot worse than they are now. But the stock market is up today, And that's just weird. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense to me. And I think that, you know, we just need to get away from these manipulated markets, in my opinion. But going back to, what you're saying about adoption, absolutely. And, I was saying on the members call on Sunday that, I love anything that is in pro adoption for cryptocurrency. Yeah, Bitcoin isn't my favorite cryptocurrency, to be honest, but it's amazing that it's the OG, and it's amazing that it's being accepted more places. And that opens up the door. That makes it easier for projects like Meta One to start to see more adoption too, and more people start taking Meta One business, and et cetera, et cetera. So it just opens it up for the whole space, which is really good, because we're about to come into a phase where there is going to be a big fight, a big war on a global stage between the governments introducing CBDCs and trying to push people in that direction, and the adoption and proliferation of decentralized private cryptocurrency, which is very different. And I think that it's really important for every cryptocurrency to do everything they can to push adoption and utility 100%. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a very interesting fall and winter.
Yeah, and that's actually happening now. I actually read a statement that I think it was from the CEO of Ripple, saying that I think next week the US government is going to be releasing a statement on the US dollar CBDC. And I think that's happening next week. So we are much closer than what anyone thinks.
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, we talked a couple of weeks ago about this, and you guys can go check out the show notes if you haven't seen it. Watch the episode, cbdctracker.org. I believe it's in the show notes in the show from a couple of weeks ago. But it shows a map of the world, and about 90% of countries are already in some kind of development phase for a CBDC, and that's not a good thing. Trust us, it's not a good thing at all. So we need to run away from those. The beautiful thing is we live in a free will universe, and y'all have a decision to make if you want to go down the path of being spied on 24/7, or if you want privacy and security, right? So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, well, this is, awesome. Thanks for giving us the update on the market. It's really going to be quite fascinating to watch. I'm like watching it every single day, waking up in the morning going, what's the market doing? Because it's fascinating, especially with everything that's going on in the world. So and speaking of recession, what are you seeing or feeling, or is the area that you're in seeing or feeling any kind of recession whatsoever? Or are you guys happy and sunny over there?
Well, I know for sure inflation is happening all over the planet.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because not a lot of people know this, but all fiat currencies are pegged to the US dollar. So whatever, it's kind of like Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto market. So Bitcoin is daddy and everyone else, is the children. So whatever the US dollar does affects all the fiat currencies in the planet. So the moment the US decided to print trillions of dollars out of thin air, it devaluated all the all the fiat currencies around the planet. Yep. So now, since materials are more expensive in the US because money is worth less, let's say that, I'm not in construction, but let's say that a plywood was $20 before COVID. And after COVID, because they printed over 60% of all money in circulation within 2 years, now that plywood is worth $25. So the US imports this plywood to other countries, not just plywood, you know, could be chips, could be gasoline, could be prime materials. And since now they're more expensive in the US because of the dumbest thing that they did, which I believe they did it on purpose, now it is more expensive in Mexico. Now it is more expensive in Spain. Now it is more expensive in Canada. It is more expensive everywhere. So yes, I know for sure that everywhere else in the world were affected by the decisions that the Fed takes with the US dollar. However, I feel right now that Mexico, the economy is strong because we don't have a very large amount of debt, but inflation is real. Inflation is real everywhere. And at least we don't have it as bad as countries like Argentina or Venezuela, Turkey, and other countries where they have no inflation but hyperinflation, which that's like 100 times worse.
Yeah, in Turkey, inflation, I read number the other day, 19%, which is insanity. But I don't believe the 9.8% inflation number that they throw around in the States. I think it's more like 20 or plus percent or more.
It's a lot more.
Yeah, it's a lot more. Yeah, that's crazy. And it's nuts because it just, we were talking before the show off camera that it's just nuts. With everything happening, especially in Europe with the energy crisis. And, not only are things already inflated, but then we have a 550% increase in electric and gas costs since June in Europe. And this is not only affecting Europe, it's starting to affect the rest of the world. And that just is like it's like throwing propane and gasoline on the fire. It's like in crazy. And now what's happening is the governments in the EU are starting to do these giant bailouts because they're seeing the price of electricity rise so much that it's getting to a place where I'm reading about in the UK and in other countries in Europe, businesses having to close because they can't afford their electricity bill anymore. They in England, they said 60% of pubs are going to go out of business this winter, if something doesn't happen. And that's obviously very concerning for the English economy. It's very concerning for the world because when you start to see that kind of breakdown, there ends up being systemic problems that happen all over the world because of it. And it's really crazy. So what these governments are having to do is they're having to do these giant bailouts for the largest electric companies or gas companies or energy companies in their country. And it's nuts. It's happening all over the world. Finland bailed out 2.35 billion euros for their big electric company. 4 billion in France, in Switzerland. 1.5 trillion in Norway. It's nuts. It's like, it blows my mind. And I don't know what you think, but I really think that the problem here that we have is by them obviously printing money, because that's what they're going to do. That's the only way that they know of creating money. So they're going to print a bunch of money and they're going to bail out these companies. It's like 2008 all over again, but a different scenario. And it's going to create hyper inflation in Europe, which is going to be really bad for the rest of the world.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that this is going to cause hyperinflation, and not only Europe is going to be affected, but the people in the US is going to be affected as well, because with all that money being printed, we are already seeing it in the US. If you go to the market and you compare the prices of steak or whatever you usually buy for your house, you know, if you compare the prices from 2020 to today, you're gonna see that the difference is not 8% or 9%. It's more like 90%. So it's already, yeah. So whatever the government's saying, it's not real. It's just they're just trying to, you know, tone down whatever's happening, but it's lies. I mean, just forget about what the government's saying. Just go to the supermarket and compare how much you were paying two years ago and right now. And I guarantee you that it's over 90% difference.
Yeah, well, it's a completely different world, right? When you look at that, but from real life and what's actually happening to what the government and what the media is saying. It's like two totally different worlds.
Yeah.
It's nuts, you know, and it's just about this control. It's like we were talking about before we got on air about how this system that we're in, it is built, it is designed to create and continue to create and make us debt slaves.
Yeah.
And we're seeing more and more of that. And so we have to make a choice. This is the thing that people have to realize, is that we can't be victims in this, and we have to make a choice to choose a different route, to choose to go in a different way. And the more of us that do that, and the more of us who come together in unity and choose the solutions that are already available right now, solutions like Meta One, solutions like other blockchain applications, solutions that are out there that and have been out there, then we can really start to turn the tide on this. Because I don't know about you, but I am so sick and tired of this. Like, I feel like we're just in a giant loop. It's like we have a few years where it's like everything's kind of good, and then some craziness happens that they make up, and then they solve it, and then we're back into some financial crisis. And all along, the people who are pulling the strings are the ones that are making millions and billions and trillions of dollars off of all of this stuff. And in the markets and in the crash and in the this and the, you know, solution to all of these things. And you know, it's just time for the world to change. It's kind of like you know, being in like Alice in Wonderland, and like
Yeah,
reliving the same day over and over again, just
it's
in
so
like
sad.
a 20-year cycle.
It's so sad, to be honest. I mean, you're totally
Yeah,
right.
but yeah, you know, I have hope. I have hope, you know, that's why we push so hard at Meta One. That's why there's lots of other, you know, ingenious people out there. And we have to stop listening to what the government is saying and what the media is saying, and really, you know, look at what's really going on. Like you said, you know, before we got on air, you know, what is really happening. Do your own research and follow your own heart. You know, what do you feel you want to do? Do you want to continue to be a part of this system that's manipulated and designed to keep you in debt, or do you want to choose a different path? So you know Michael Burry, right?
Yes, yes. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you're gonna talk about.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I love Michael Burry. Michael Burry is awesome. If you
Yeah, yeah.
ever want a great, entertaining Twitter handle to follow Michael Burry, because he's hilarious. And you know, people, you know, there's still people out there. I still talk to people, crazily enough, that are like, there's no recession going on. No, they said there was no recession. There's no recession happening and everything is okay. And I'm like, what are you smoking? Because whatever you're smoking, you need to get off of, because it's obviously very, very, very real to all of us that it's going on. And you know, when this kind of stuff happens, when someone as big as Michael Burry, who, you know, for anybody who doesn't know who Michael Burry is, they made a movie about him called Big Short with Christian Bale. He was one of the first to predict 2008 crash. And he's also very famous for making a lot of money in that crash for himself and for his hedge fund. And he sold all of his stock but one last quarter, and basically believes that a giant crash is coming, which I obviously agree with him. I think they said the hedge fund was worth just about 200 million at the beginning of the last quarter 3. And now he only holds 3.3 million of a stock called Geo Group, which is a private prison. So that just tells you what he thinks is going to happen.
Super sad. That's super sad, to be honest, that, he knows that the market's crashing and the only stock that he's holding is one that is a private prison where they enslave people and make profit out of it.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's very sad. Yes. But yeah, I mean, listen, if Michael Burry thinks that there's something giant coming, I have to concur with him, because he obviously has a way with predicting crashes. And he continues to stay that course. And yet you keep asking me when crash, when Lambo. But and then he came out in May. This is hilarious. Dead cat bounces, he calls them, are the most epic. 12 out of the 20 top. I think we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago. NASDAQ one-day rallies happening during the 78% drop from the top 2000s. 9 of the 20 top 20 S&P 500 one-day rallies happened during the 86% drop from the 1929 top. And he's very right. And you were talking about this the other day, right? That typically the biggest rallies happen during bear markets.
Yeah.
And finally today, he tweets, crypto crash check, meme crash check, SPAC crash check, inflation check, 2000 check, 2008 check, 2022 check. We have not hit bottom. Watch for failures, then look for the bottom. And that is something I do truly believe. I think that we're going to start to see some big companies fail. I think we're going to see some big tech companies go bankrupt. That's what I really think is going to happen, because there are just too many zombie companies out there in the US economy that are being propped up by all of this fake money that the Fed pushed out over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Let's see, there was we had talked about layoffs a bit ago, and kind of wanted to just talk about this again, because this is a really important number, obviously, and we continue to sort of see that rise. So this is layofftracker.com for anybody wants to check it out. I believe that last time we talked about this, we talked about July's numbers. So July was there were 25,000 people laid off, 179 companies did a layoff. And then in August, we had 26,000 people and 195 companies. So it continues to go up. This tracks globally, all of the layoffs globally. This is just for the tech sector. And then if we look at the non-tech sector, there's some bigger companies in non-tech that have been laying people off. Ford laid off 3,000 people, Geico, Walmart, Best Buy. So it's I think we're starting to see the recession, at least in the U.S. and some bigger markets, really start to kick in. It's pretty crazy.
I agree with you.
So I know you, there was something else you wanted to talk about, and I can't remember what it was.
I wanted to talk about a little bit about stable coins, but I don't know if, have we already hit the hour mark? I mean, are we still on time, or do you want to save it for next podcast?
Yeah, people might get bored of us talking for too long.
Yeah. I mean, I know, I feel like we've already been talking for like an hour. So, I mean, I don't know if you want me to talk about, what I was going to talk about, these stable coins, I can go for it. But if not, we can save it for next podcast.
Yeah, I don't know. You wanna save it for next podcast, and people have something to look forward to?
Yeah, it's super interesting for those of you who are listening. I mean, it's super interesting, but we're trying to keep our podcast, a maximum of 50 minutes or 1 hour.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna save this one for next occasion. It's very interesting. So I hope that you're here next week to hear what we're gonna talk about. And yeah, I mean, I'm super excited to have you guys here. And I don't know if you want to add anything, Justin.
Yeah, just thanks everybody for tuning in and listening. We appreciate it. We do this for education. And as I always say, I'm not doom and gloom, very optimistic. There's lots of solutions out there, including Meta One and lots of others. Let's just make a free will choice to choose something different. I just want everyone to be educated because I don't want to see anybody get caught with their pants down. There were too many people in 2008 that lost everything. And I don't want you to be one of those people. So remember that we're here to provide education. This is not investment advice. Do what you want when you want to. And we super appreciate you checking us out and tuning in every week. And we'll see you next time. Thanks so much.
See you later.